John, you're winning the prize for best background so far. I'm loving your office.
Fantastic. There are a lot of movies of yours behind me.
Yeah. You say that to everyone.
Martin's dead. Bob is dead. Jesus is dead.
I was shocked to find out how funny this movie was. I think I went into it expecting it to be really serious and really dramatic. And there were a lot of moments of just subtle levity. And I want to know what type of conversations you guys had on set with Mr. Sorkin, where he said, like, let the humor be accessible to get people into the trial, because it could have played very angry and very futile.
It was on the page, honestly. Aaron is the master of that. He takes on such sort of rigorous subject matter, and he invests in his audience's speed of thought, but he also laces it with humor in a way that's wonderful. In fact, we talked about it in relation to Tom, even though, because Tom, in Aaron's take on the trial, was, you know, very much the policy, the within the system man. But I was said to Aaron, in order for an audience to stay with him, he's got to have charisma, you know, which Tom did, by the way, in real life. He was, you know, swimming in charisma, but he's got to have some of that himself. So actually, Aaron went in and laced a bit of humor into Tom's early work. You're not quite Abby as far as and certainly I'm not Sasha, but it was important. What I'm saying is, it was very important that the humor is a way into these characters in some ways.
Get on the street! Get on the street!
But these are very, very witty and smart, very, very intelligent characters, and the characters who who come from various backgrounds. And so when you have ego and experience and certain degrees of trauma and intelligence, then that's also, you know, that's right for drama, but it's also right for a lot of comedy and for great quips and comebacks and challenges and things like that as well. So Aaron definitely took advantage of the personalities that, you know, he was given with this cast.
Yeah, not a spoiler at all, but when it's pointed out that the members were not present at a certain location, and then you say, I wasn't there either. I laughed so hard at that moment.
Like, for informational purposes, right? Just in case we're wondering, I wasn't there either. Yeah.
You all right?
I was until I saw that.
These rebels without a job.
They're a threat to national security.
This revolution, we may have to hurt somebody's feelings.
I consider Mr. Sorkin literally our greatest screenwriter working today. You've been lucky enough to read a number of scripts over the course of your career. I'm curious, what's different about his?
Yeah, I opened up this script in my email, and I scrolled all the way through the bottom. Said it's got to be a mistake. There's 140 pages. It's definitely 130. There could have even been 150 pages. How do you do a movie in 150 pages? Then I started to read, and then before you know it, I'm on page 40. I've only been reading for what feels like 10 minutes. So the script sings. You know, the script is musical. The dialogue complements one another. There's not a lot that is gratuitous. There's not anything gratuitous about the script, and yet it still finds the place to go fast and to rest and to allow for jokes and the things that you would see when a script has the time to really take its breath, although it's packed full of words and dialogue. So he works with a very, very smart hand over his language.
I would love to get your insight about the production pause that we're currently going through in the industry, because you happen to be part of a massive franchise in Fantastic Beasts. Yeah. And a lot of times these movies are racing to hit pre-announced release dates. And I'm just curious if there's been an added bonus to a sequel to press pause and take a breath and solve some issues and maybe make us the strongest movie possible.
I mean, I hope so. I did definitely. So we were meant to start, we'd done a pre-shoot day just before we went into lockdown here. So we'd shot on a Friday, and then on the Sunday night, we were meant to start shooting proper on the Monday. And we got a call on the Sunday night saying we're not doing it. And then we had this 6-month period, and absolutely the creatives, certainly David Yates and I were talking about, using that time, and whether it was in the visual effects or working on things as far as, I think it's really important. You're always trying to make the best work possible, and so I feel like it has been helpful in some ways, but it's interesting because we've started shooting now. We're 2 weeks in, and it's, again, whole new processes, whole new normal, testing frequently, masks. And I wondered actually whether the masks would affect creativity in some ways. Maybe it was a bit ignorant, but I just thought, do we, as humans, do we need interaction to spark from each other? And what's really reassuring is it is a different process, but it still feels like it's fizzing, and that everyone is working at the top of their game.
So I think I've been fortunate enough with The Matrix that we haven't had, that the pause that we experienced was not as large as, or was not as long a pause as a lot of the other productions. So I find myself being fortunate enough to stay in the creative spirit and to continually be processing it and making work. But I think that this is an industry that will and that does survive by finding the silver lining. So I think that it will be the case that this is a time for artists, for creatives to rejuvenate, to go back to look at footage, to look at what they've already have in the can, and to say, okay, well, this is what we're going to do better when we get back, and this is how we're going to streamline and become more efficient. And so I think that was hopefully that the response will be a lot of quality work, coming out in the next year.
Were you hoping to draw the police into a confrontation? I'm concerned you have to think about it.
Give me a moment, would you, friend? I've never been on trial for my thoughts before.